Bring in somebody else who has just made a bit of history. You know, we give these interviews every year where we get to stand here and talk to the winner of the Mr. Olympia. It's one of the great privileges, one of the great things that I get to do each and every year is talk to the #1 bodybuilder in the world in the moments after an Olympia is settled. And I'm not gonna lie to you, Shawn, never in a million years did I imagine that I'd be standing here talking to you as the greatest champion. Having said that, when you walked out tonight and what you presented last night and again tonight, it was extraordinary. The fans around the world agreed with the decision. You delivered something remarkable. You bounced back from a year ago where you were off and you talked about some of those trials and tribulations going into last year's competition. And in one of the more improbable turn of events, you have won a Sandow Trophy. You are the 14th man to do so. So for that, we congratulate you on an extraordinary achievement.
Thank you. It's, haven't sunken in this yet, but it's been a long, long year from last Olympia. Broken jaw, mouth wired shut, had to eat through a straw, had to blend all my food. Still able to fight my way to the top 5 last year, and I started my prep this year for the Arnold Classic, ended up with 2 bleeding ulcer, and 8 blood transfusion, had to pull out the last couple of weeks. And I wanted to make a statement for this year's Olympia, and when I told people it's going to win the Olympia this year, a lot of people kind of laughed at me because I looked like I was about to be retired. But I have a great coach, Chris Aceto, great training, Psycho Fitness 21, and a training partner that will never let me quit. Plus my family was always like, hey, you know what? Just focus.
Let's get down to brass tacks here. You beat a really good champion tonight. Phil Heath has done remarkably over the last 7 years, winning this title, and he came in very confident this weekend. He thought he had this thing coming into the competition. You were very confident, as we saw from the very early phases of the weekend. You came out here, took care of business. Talk about not what it feels like to be Mr. Olympia. Talk about what it feels like to defeat the great Phil Heath.
You know, I've been on stage with Phil since 2011. It's a great feeling, man, because, again, Phil is no slouch. You have Dexter Jackson, former Mr. Olympia also, that were on stage. And I know these guys are 2 champion and they worked their butt off and everybody was going to come in here firing in all cylinders. So Rolly Winkler and William Bonac moved up the chain last year, this year. One thing that my coach told me is that, Shawn, just stay in your own lane. Don't worry about what anybody else is doing. Just focus on what you need to do. The only thing that we need to do here for this year Olympia is to bring the best Shawn Rhoden ever. Because if you bring the best Shawn Rhoden ever, it's going to be very hard for anyone to beat you. And I believe.
You're also one of the oldest men to win this competition for the first time. I think Chris Dickerson may have been a year older. How old are you? Can you put out the number?
I'm 43.
43. I think Chris Dickerson was also 43 when he won the competition. So hopefully some of our historians out there will determine if you are the oldest to actually win the contest for the first time. How many more years?
I'll be back. I'm going to leave it at that.
Well, I do want to just put some perspective for you, if I could, before I let you run. The Olympia Winners Club is the most prestigious club in this sport. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sergio Oliva, Dorian Yates, the Ronnie Colemans, Jake Cutlers. You are Phil Heath. You are in that club. No matter what happens for you going forward, no matter what happens to you for the rest of your life, You are forever a Mr. Olympia champion. Pick up that Sandow trophy and show the world what you have just done. Remarkably, extraordinarily, impressively, and well-deserved. Shawn Rhoden, your 2018 Mr. Olympia champion. Any final thoughts before you get out of here and go eat?
Just want to thank my family for putting up with me the last couple of weeks. Miss my family, training in LA. My coach, Chris Aceta, and Psycho Fitness. Thank you guys so much for continuing to believe in me when everybody else stopped.
And then there were 14. Shawn Rhoden, congratulations, our newly crowned Olympia champion. I think that's going to wrap things up here from Las Vegas at the Orleans Arena. Our coverage of Joe Weider's Olympia weekend has now come to an incredible close with the crowning of a new champion. They often say in this sport of bodybuilding, the most memorable nights are the nights where a champion is crowned for the very first time. And Shawn Rhoden, thanks to you, you have given us that moment. For all of us here, we appreciate the hard work of Robin Chang and everybody over at the Olympia production team, our director, Lou Zwick, my co-hosts, Amanda Latona and Hall of Famer Sean Ray. For our newly crowned champion, Shawn Rhoden,